Welcome back, boys. We're at the 10th podcast. This is kind of like a milestone. I would say it's a milestone.
Yeah, it definitely
10
is.
podcasts, number 10. No one's watching. We have no subscribers.
Yep, that is true.
It's just kind of like a personal achievement, you know? You set your mind on something and you do it, I guess.
It's always darkest before the dawn, my guy.
There's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I remember that.
All right, we're just going to get straight into things. So we're going to go over the headlines. This is, for those that don't know, just anything that's newsworthy in sports. So, we got Ezekiel Elliott. We've been talking about him in the headlines, I think, like the past 3. So, basically, the headline is they're not close on agreement.
That is true. However, Jerry Jones, I don't know how much this means. He said they'll re-sign him, but, he doesn't really have that much control over that. So we'll see.
I don't think Jerry has any control on the numbers, but he's definitely influential in that franchise.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I think what he says goes, but I don't know. I don't think. I think they have a chance to re-sign him if the number is right. But what I've heard is that they're trying to reset the running back market. So I don't.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Do you know who the highest paid running back is right now? Was it Le'Veon at 13 a year?
It might be Le'Veon.
Well, whatever it is, it sounds like Zeke will get 16 to 18 a year if he actually gets what he wants, and I think that's way too much.
Probably.
But, I could see Dallas working it out. It's an interesting situation to follow. The next headline.
Todd Gurley is the highest paid running back.
What's his APY?
14.3.
Okay. So, Zeke would probably be around 16 from what it sounds like, right?
Yeah. Probably.
Would you pay Zeke 16?
I would not.
I would over 2 years, so that would mean he plays.
Okay, yeah. I wouldn't give him I wouldn't give a running back a long-term lucrative contract. You know
I would just. I think Zeke's 24. I would sign him up until he's 28, 29. That's his prime years.
Yeah, I know, because you'll get. Yeah. True.
Yeah. So, other newsworthy is
other news that's happening.
Melvin Gordon, basically.
Melvin Gordon.
It sounds like that. It sounds like that holdout is a lot more serious than Zeke's.
Yeah, because he requested a trade, but who's going to trade him? Who's going to trade for him?
Texans.
Who's going to trade? I can't think of a team that would realistically trade for them. Wait, what did you say?
The Texans.
But why?
Well, they just cut Deontay Foreman.
I understand, and they have a need for a running back. Well,
exactly.
2 things. First of all, it's been reported that they're not going to trade for him.
Smoke dream.
But also, why would they? Because think about it, you'd have to give up draft capital.
You would
for a running back, then sign him to a big deal. I don't know. I just don't think.
Well,
that would be a great move.
We don't know what Melvin's asking for,
True.
so we don't really know how unrealistic it is. So if he's asking for 15 a year, okay, Melvin needs to have a day off basically. But if he's in the 10 to 13 range, I think that's what Melvin deserves. And if you're Houston, dude, if they could solidify a rushing attack, that would open up a lot on the offense.
That's true.
And they're kind of in that win now mode, you know.
Are they though?
The only other team that I could see trading for him would be Green Bay.
Yeah.
There's suitors at him. All you need is 1 or 2 teams to have a bidding war.
Yeah, I really don't think anyone's gonna try to trade for him.
Though. Oh, I think if he's if it reaches a point where the Chargers are looking to trade him, there's definitely going to be.
Yeah, maybe, because then really the killer is the pick compensation you have to give up.
I would give up a 4th round pick for him.
Well, yeah, it'll be higher. It's higher
so?
Right now.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be higher. I think the highest I would go is a 3rd.
Yeah. See, I think right now it'll.
Well, yeah, right now it is because they have leverage. I'm saying in a world where they lost all the leverage, there'll be 5 or 6 teams.
Maybe.
Even the Rams. I could see the Rams doing it. Fuck it, dude.
Nah, dude.
And who knows, maybe, I don't know, maybe Melvin gets to a situation where he plays out the year in his contract. I don't know. A bunch of shit can happen.
Could happen. Also, Jadeveon Clowney. Technically not a holdout because he's not under contract.
Yeah.
But he's planning on showing out,
third week of
preseason. Week 3 preseason?
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of disappointing. I was kind of hoping he would just not play.
Nah, he's going to play.
Yeah.
At least Unique showed up to camp.
Well, yeah. Come on, dude.
That's not really. That shouldn't be newsworthy though. Like,
yeah, it's really not.
It's just kind of dumb if he didn't. Like,
yeah. So Unique's back. Let's go.
What was like? Well, there was like a tweet I saw from him. I thought it was funny. Oh no, it was like a quote. It was like a media guy for the Jags asked him about the contract, and he was like, the Jags had their chance, and I'm like,
yeah. So he said, yeah, they had their chance to sign me long term. That's what he said.
So he's using past tense. That's concerning.
He did say had.
What's your take on that as a Jags fan?
Okay, see. Now I'm thinking, I don't think we're going to get a deal done before the season starts. However, at any point, the Jags could, like, it's not like he's not going to negotiate with them, because he will.
Yeah, I'll negotiate with him. Yeah, he would.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, if the Jags really want to re-sign him, they can. And I think even if you don't get a deal done this year, you have next year. I have to think, if they're being so stingy with Ngakoue, they must, like, really want to re-sign Ramsey. That's, like, they must place the priority solely there. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, I mean, it just...
You would think. I don't really know.
It depends on, A, we don't know what he's asking for, and yeah. B, like, as you said, like, yeah, they have next year, but I don't know. It's not that black and white.
Okay. You have to think about the leverage that Ngakoue has. Little to none, He's under contract this year. Then you just franchise tag him. If he doesn't sign that, franchise tag him again. That's worth it.
Well, no, I'm saying, like, so on paper, yeah, that makes sense. I'm just saying if it gets to a point where they can't reach an agreement, Unique demands a trade, and then it causes like a...
then that's unfortunate. But hopefully the Jaguars... Hopefully, like, goes off this season, and we give him the contract.
I don't think they're paying him. I don't think they're paying him.
That would be unfortunate.
I don't know why they would wait to pay him next year.
I don't know. I mean,
like, wouldn't the number just go up?
Things change. Things change, dude. I don't know.
Oh yeah, but like,
it's like it could be like a DeMarcus Lawrence type situation. He signed after a franchise tag. I don't know. We simply don't know.
Well, yeah, I just think that, as you said, like, the Jags have their priorities, and I don't think they're willing to give them the world, which we don't know the asking numbers. So I don't know how dumb the Jags are being or how dumb Unique's being. All I know is that it's not going well, and I don't think they'll get a deal done before the start of the season. I would be pretty surprised.
I agree. But who knows? Maybe, like, during the bye week or something, we get a deal done.
I think he leaves.
He's probably going to be here for the next 3 years, unless he demands a trade. But
I know what I just think if you're Unique and like you were in contract negotiations and they don't give you anything, like by the time you get to that franchise tag, like he'll either hold out, demand a trade, or not play. That's like the trend of NFL players.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see what they do. Yeah, it's still long time in the future.
You're just holding out hope. It's a good thing.
Dude,
yeah, I know you know what I'm saying. No?
Relax. You gotta relax.
You know what I'm saying. No?
You gotta relax.
All right. So for this podcast, we're gonna go on like a similar trend that we did last podcast. We're just gonna talk about topics in sports. It's pretty simple. All right. So Kieran, you can give us our first baseball topic of the podcast. We're on up to 10.
Right. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about some baseball for the first time ever. We're going to talk about how this year, recently, it has been the baseballs, have been juiced, if you will. You hit them with the bat and they go further, which obviously results in more home runs, farther home runs.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So we will discuss, is this good for baseball? What do you think?
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Like, baseball is a dying sport, as everyone knows. Like, their age range of fans is like, people's dads, basically, like that 50 to 70 range. And they did it back in like the early 2000s. They juiced the balls, and then like it drew the fans back in, and they did it this year, and it's not drawing them back in. But if you ask me, do I think it's bad for baseball? I don't. It just kind of adds to the fun.
Okay.
Like, who doesn't like more home runs,
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's necessarily bad for baseball, but I do think it's kind of makes you realize like it's kind of like flawed, the sport of baseball.
I think every sport's flawed though.
Yeah, but baseball way more than others. If you need to juice the balls in order to get people to watch, then that's not great.
Well, so I think every like sport has that version to their sport.
Yeah.
You know, like the NBA is taking out the hand check. Now it's basically kind of a soft sport. You know, so now it's kind of like a run and gun type of league. You know, where Shaq dominated back in 2003, and like a Shaq Shaq prototype in the draft, he won't get drafted that high because he doesn't fit in the league. You know.
That's true, but at least it's working for the NBA and NFL.
Yeah, well, so I agree with you that it shows that like that baseball is dead basically, but I don't think that it's like everything's flawed.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily bad because
sports change. Like football, it's basically taking away big hits. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a flag, and I hate that aspect of the game, but it adds more exciting plays, and that's what people want. So yeah, so I
guess
it does just speak to the point of how bad. I mean, I like playoff baseball. I do like playoff baseball.
Yeah, I think baseball. I don't know. It's just really the time that baseball takes, like the action, and the amount of how little action there is in the long amount of time. I don't know.
Well, I think
rough.
So when I watch baseball games, I'm always doing something else. So if I want to read a book, I'll just put it on in the background or something.
Yeah, I could never straight watch.
Yeah, I could never straight watch it. Or if I'm if I'm doing homework in the fall and there's a baseball playoff game, I'll just put it, something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think baseball is just a really niche acquired taste to watch. I loved playing baseball growing up, so I don't think baseball will lose people playing it. I just think it'll lose viewers.
Yeah.
Because baseball is so much more fun to play either physically or virtually than it is to watch, and it's not like any other sport. When you play it, it's you don't really find it. I never question why is this taking so long. It's just part of the game, but then when you watch, you're like, oh, what the fuck? It's one of those ones where you don't really.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in basketball, the late game timeouts. If you're in the game, you're oh, we needed a timeout. But if you're watching it, you're gonna lose your mind.
Yeah.
So, it'd be interesting to see what happens to baseball. They're gonna have to change a lot of things. What I would do personally, right?
Okay.
If we're talking changing baseball, I would put it to. We obviously got to shrink the schedule. 162 games is way too many.
Yeah,
any game you watch is invaluable.
Any game you watch basically doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
Single game you watch.
Well, there's games
unless it's you get what I mean.
Well,
but
yeah,
let's say game 47 and an out of division opponent. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying, but that's kind of. I feel like that's kind of it's one of the positives to baseball for me, anyways. That there's games every single day. I kind of like that.
I don't know.
Obviously, not every game matters. So, the Royals series or the Red Sox right now, it doesn't have the same impact on the Yankees series they just had when they got swept. But I feel like baseball is one of the better games to go to. I don't know if you agree with that. I'd rather go to some baseball games than some football games, personally.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like football is it's like a game where you enjoy it a lot more watching it on TV, unless you have a bias towards it. I'm just talking the sport in general, obviously.
Yeah, maybe.
Obviously, if we're talking favorite teams and stuff, then it's not even close. But I'm just saying the product. I went to a Dodgers game when I was in LA, and I think I would enjoy it a lot more than going to a Niners game when they're at home against the Cardinals. Maybe that's just me, but all right, we're kind of running in circles in this conversation. So, the other topic for sports, it's not really a topic. I just kind of want to mention to our viewers to not forget about these certain players. So I think in this type of culture, our society is kind of what did you do for me lately? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's an example of this in sports is this time last year, nobody gave a shit about Kawhi Leonard. Because he got hurt, and then he basically took a year off, and his relationship with the Spurs went to shit, and they traded him to the Raptors, and nobody really cared about it that much because people forgot how good he was, and then he wins a title. So I'm using this to kind of don't forget about how good Le'Veon Bell is. Just don't do it. Like, I think Le'Veon is heavily slept on. We could talk about fantasy, but just like in general, like he was like one of the best running backs in the league a year ago, and now people are just like, oh yeah, we'll see what he is. Like I think he's gonna be the best running back in the league, not named Saquon, this year.
I could see that.
Like Saquon is just a type of guy where he's just gonna run that position for the next like 5 to 7 years, and I don't think Zeke. I don't know how that will go, but like Le'Veon, dude, like people. I don't know how you can forget how good he was, dude. I don't know. And then for like a future reference, Kevin Durant. You know that when we go through this entire NBA season with the amount of change that we had, that everyone's gonna be talking about. You know, the battle of the LA teams, how Kyrie does in Brooklyn, how Russ and James Harden and Joe, like all that stuff. And then this time next year, people will forget about Durant, and then I'll come back the year later and remind you. So maybe it's not like a topic, but just kind of like a PSA.
A PSA.
It's crazy. Like I was thinking about this earlier today. It's crazy how much like a year changes everything. Like how much a year can change things.
That is true.
I see it in no other like avenue of life with sports, anyways. Like, dude, like the flips can script so fast in sports.
Wait, so
the script can flip, whatever. But you get what I'm saying. Like one team can go. Like if the Knicks got their offseason they wanted, they would go from the worst team in the league to the best team in the league.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I haven't seen, even in the NFL, it's to a lesser extent, but like, this time last year, everyone was kind of like,
I don't know. I feel like the NFL was, I think, the greatest example. Like, you think about, okay, I'm using the Jags.
I meant like when you know about it. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, okay.
So obviously the NFL seasons change year to year.
Yeah.
Like how good a team is going to be. I'm just talking just like the landscape of the league.
Oh, okay, yeah. NBA definitely dominates.
Yeah, I mean NBA. That's what their league is. NFL is just there's about 4 teams where everyone knows what they're gonna do, and everything else is a question.
Pretty much, yeah.
So yeah, that's basically it. So I think we're just gonna go into our entertainment topic. So this is kind of an interesting one. We're just gonna rank our favorite YouTubers of all time. I don't think we've touched on YouTube and entertainment.
We have not yet.
It's a massive avenue for entertainment, dude. Like, there's a lot of money in YouTube. So this is basically our personal favorites. We're not talking about like most influential YouTuber of all time.
Yeah, I
kind of dead.
That might be.
And then
also we are discussing the prime versions of these YouTubers.
Yeah, we're not doing like their whole
what
career.
They are now, because that's like like at their height. You know what I mean?
And then also we're doing streamers too, so it's not just YouTubers. Basically, any like entertainment platform that's gaming, whatever. You guys get what the fuck I'm saying.
YouTube or like Twitch or something, basically.
All right, so we just got a top 5. I'm just gonna go through. Now I won't go through honorable mentions yet. So I'll just start with my number 5.
Okay.
So at 5, I got Jester the Laser. For those that don't know who Jester is, he's basically an NBA 2K YouTuber. He played a bunch of my team back in the day. So, like about 2-3 years ago when I was like I played my team a lot 2-3 years ago, and Jester was kind of like the most popular YouTuber back then. It's pretty self-explanatory. The reason he's at 5 is because I hate like the avenue he chose in his life. I feel like he just fucked up heavily, dude.
I mean, not from a financial standpoint, you know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, but I feel like his
content definitely, yeah.
He burned so many bridges in the sense of like relationships in the community. I don't know how many people in the community actually have respect for him. And then B, he kind of lost who he was.
That's true.
Like he went what I would call corporate. Basically, he does it for the money now. I mean, it's not a bad thing to do. I'm just saying like it's tough to see that. Obviously people change, but this is kind of like a forced change from Jester that I'm sensing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why he's that low. I mean, I just don't really respect anything that he's done since he moved out of his house. Like anything from that point forward. Like right now, I hate Jester. He's one of my least favorite YouTubers. But we're going off the prime, so he's got to be.
That's harsh, dude.
What?
That's pretty harsh.
Dude, he's just like an asshole, dude. Like, I don't know. Dude.
Okay. All right.
Wait, hold on. Do you know how old he is? Like, do we know how old he is?
I can look that up.
Yeah, look at that.
I think he's like 20.
He's only 20?
Yeah, he's really young.
I know he's young, but 20, dude? That's like 2 years older than us.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's 20.
Jesus, fuck. I'm kind of.
Yeah.
I wonder how he's.
And he was like popular in like when he was like 17.
Yeah, about our age.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see how like what he does, because he's probably at like a standstill in his life. You know, like the point that every gaming YouTuber reaches, where like the game that they got popular off of, they don't like anymore. So he's at that point right now.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes for Jesser. All right, who's your number 5?
Number 5, I'm going with a man by the name of Mr. Hurricane. This is a.
Can you explain Mr. Hurricane?
Yeah, so this man, Mr. Hurricane, he just, you know, he's to his craft. You know, he's a football game, like a Madden YouTuber, kind of. He dabbles in some NCAA. You know, he has like a 10-year with a college he created himself, so that gives you kind of an idea of the type of content he puts out. I don't know.
Sorry to cut you off. Basically, what Mr. Hurricane does is he does offline dynasties.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, back when NCAA was like at the height of its popularity, he did Minnesota. He's from Minnesota. And basically you kind of see where the series goes. So for those people like us that like rebuilding teams on football games, you can kind of like relate to it.
Yeah. And what he does, he actually does it really well. He goes super in depth.
Yeah.
You know, he keeps everything super realistic.
Yeah.
He takes it seriously.
To an extent.
Like, he puts a lot of effort into it. Like, he plays the games, like, 15-minute quarters. Like, they take so long.
Yeah.
Plays everything. Then he, like, voices over. Yeah. Like, he's an announcer. Like, I respect it. And it was, like, it's some good content.
Well, for me, Mr. Hurricane was, like, in consideration, but for me, I never really, was waiting for a Mr. Hurricane video, if you know what I'm saying, because that's why I didn't make the list, but I feel like I have a ton of respect for him because of how, as you were saying, he's kind of stayed the same. You know, he hasn't, he's not doing it for the subs. Like, he doesn't care about the subs. Like, he doesn't care at all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's just playing the game. He's doing what he wants to do.
You can tell he's just a fan.
Like, I don't know how you can, hate on a guy for doing that. Like, it's just a passion of his.
Yeah.
That's it. You just gotta respect it, man. Like, I don't know.
For sure.
I just can't really relate to him. I can relate to him on, the video game side of things, sure. But everything else, mate, I've never gone in depth that much. Yeah,
it gets kind of concerning.
No, it gets really concerning. That's why he's not on my list.
If you just look past that, I don't know. At his height, he had some series, some Madden.
I think he's at his height right now. Series. I think he's at his height right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. His height for me, anyways. He had a Madden series with the Jaguars, and that was pretty great.
Yeah, for me, it's I kind of like to see both sides of the spectrum. So he's kind of like the very serious side of a franchise. He takes it a little bit too seriously for me.
Yeah, it gets.
I just remember the Jags were they had he went in depth in this quarterback battle between Blake Bortles and this auto-generated player named Nataki Mason, and they just get to the point where I'm just
you just gotta step back and you gotta question. What am I doing?
The fuck, yeah.
You know, he made it to number 5. So
I think obviously we don't know Mr. Hurricane on any personal level. He doesn't really share that side of him on his channel. But I don't know, for me, anyways, playing that type of franchise is kind of it takes you out of the, it's like a different universe. It's like watching a movie, kind of, for me.
Okay.
So if I have a bunch of stress, I have an SAT the next day, it'll be nice to just go play the Browns, and if I'm doing a Bengals franchise. And it's kind of, just kind of it's like a de-stressor. That's what I would say.
Okay.
Take your mind off things. All right. So at number 4, I have OSN. So I'm not allowed to say his actual channel name. I think you guys get what I'm saying. So OSN, basically, he was a 2K YouTuber, like 2K15, 2K16, and then he kind of changed to a reactor when that was popular chancer. And dude, it's just I love his reactions. He reacted to like high school players, so he would go through like guys like Seventh of Woods, and his reaction. It was just really fun to watch. It was just really entertaining.
Okay.
And I still watch his videos to this day. Like he does reaction on things. Like I don't know. He's just it's like he has a personality that I can gravitate to.
Okay.
Like it's kind of like a likable personality, and he went to the reacting side, and I feel like that's a really good side to go to because they produce great content. Reactors did. Oh my god, some of the shit that he's reacted to. Jesus, but yeah, that's what OSN's up for.
Okay, that makes sense.
Oh my god.
All right, yeah. Number 4, I got a man by the name of Joe Weller.
Okay.
He's just a really funny guy.
Yeah, I mean, so Joe Weller, I'll touch on him when he gets on my list. But for those that don't know, he's a YouTuber, obviously. He lives in England, and he got popular off of like series called Internet Melts.
Yeah, and it was also like I don't know, like skits kind of.
Yeah, like he didn't really play FIFA. He just kind of did his own type of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'll give my take on Weller when I get to him. I feel like I kind of want to save it.
Yeah. So I mean, he's just a kind of guy where he can make a video on really any topic, and it's just pretty funny because he's just
it's his personality, dude.
Yeah, it's just his personality and the way he like
delivers it.
I don't know.
The way he delivers it.
I would check him out. It's hard to explain what makes him like a good YouTuber.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. Yeah, like all of these YouTubers, it's really hard to explain. It's kind of like saying like a picture like is like shows 1,000 words or whatever.
Yeah, but at his prime, Weller was, I don't know, all his videos were like pretty hilarious. So
yeah, I'll get to Weller when I get.
Yeah, so he's at number 4 for me.
All right, at 3 we have Spencer FC. So you can keep laughing.
Okay.
So Spencer FC was a FIFA YouTuber. And the reason, I have a different, this is kind of like, I wouldn't say this is like my all-time favorite YouTuber at number 3. Like, there's guys that were in consideration. Maybe guys like Arlen Moore, who's like a vlogger, Los, just way back. Like, those type of guys where maybe I like them more, but I feel like Spencer. So, obviously, I loved his FIFA series. Back when I played a bunch of Ultimate Team, like Wheel of Fortune was really entertaining, at least for me. And it was because of how unique it was. Like, he wouldn't find his type of series anywhere else on YouTube. Like, everybody does, like, a no money, like, a road to glory on FIFA. So, and, like, I feel like it's just really unique that he came up with a series. And then also, I have a ton of respect of, like, the jump he's taken. So, obviously, he doesn't play FIFA anymore, but he started his own club called #United, and I feel like I have a ton of respect for that, dude. Like, do you know how big that is in the UK?
Yeah.
It's massive in the UK, and it's like open doors for other guys, like just guys to play football, you get what I'm saying? Like, I just have a ton of respect for it, that he went that route. So yeah, that's why he's got 3. His videos were great. Alright, so who do you got at 3?
Yeah, at 3 I got a streamer. I got Los Pollos TV.
The Chicken TV.
Now, for people that don't know, basically Los, he just plays video games on stream.
Yep.
Yeah, he doesn't really do YouTube. I mean, yeah, he really doesn't.
No, he doesn't do YouTube.
He's just super entertaining. Yeah. He finds a way. Also, like his like chat and stuff.
Yeah, his chat makes him.
Like he does a good job of like involving the chat.
Facilitating conversation, basically.
Yeah, so it's like an experience as opposed to just watching someone. You know what I mean?
So Los would have been in my top 5, but when I was ranking them, I'm like, I never watch his streams. I just watch his stream highlights I get posted on YouTube. So that's why I don't have him in the top 5.
I don't either, but
yeah, that's just kind of my.
I just think that's just because I'm not a huge fan of streams.
Yeah, same. That's why he's on.
Los the person, I don't know, and he just surrounds himself with like. He puts other really funny people on the stream with him.
Yeah, he's funny.
It just works well, He's like a pretty creative guy when it comes to like creating entertaining streams.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he checks all the boxes for like a quality YouTuber. And yeah, so I put him at number 3.
Yeah, he would have been on my list if I watched his stream, but I don't. I just watch his highlights. So at number 2, I have a YouTuber by the name of Kevin Go D. So he's a MLB The Show YouTuber.
No one knows who that is.
Yeah, no one knows who this is. But he's an MLB The Show YouTuber. I got like a PS4 last year because my Xbox broke. So I started playing MLB The Show. I enjoyed the game, and he was like my favorite YouTuber of the game. And like no one really gives a shit about the game. It's just hard to explain. He's just really sarcastic, and he's like one of the funnier YouTubers that I've watched ever.
Okay.
He's so dude. Like you just don't even know. Like you just don't even know.
I don't.
You have like Noah into the comments are so there's this player. His name is Eddie Matthews, right? So like it's the YouTuber's favorite player, and there's like a going on joke about how mental he is. So like I'll click on a video and I'll be like, yeah, Eddie just kicked me off a fridge. It's just like that. It's like that type of shit that makes me laugh. Okay. Like, that's like the type of comedy that I like.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, who's at number 2 for you?
Yeah, number 2 I got YouTuber by the name of Chris MD. Now this is not so much now. More like 2 years ago, Chris MD. He's a we're just gonna go past that. He's a FIFA YouTuber, / like soccer. You know, he doesn't. Are you okay?
FIFA YouTuber / soccer. You know. You're just bad at explaining things. That's all good.
No, I got this. So he doesn't really upload that often. No. But when he does, it's actually like a quality video. You know,
yeah, he takes his time on videos.
Yeah, and they're like long too. You know what I'm saying?
They have to be long.
Sure, I don't know. Okay.
This kid did. All right, basically.
Yeah, when I played FIFA a lot, it was nice to get these like high quality FIFA videos, and it wasn't like he overloaded his channel trying to like quantity over quality, you know. So like whenever I saw a video, I knew it was going to be like good. Well, that's when I played FIFA. I don't watch them anymore, but
yeah, I feel like this list was really hard to make because I feel like Kieran and I have like our interests have changed so much. So like what we watched 2 years ago doesn't really translate to what we watch now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like a lot of people just watch like Netflix or whatever. I still watch YouTube, but like dude, there's a lot of YouTubers that I watched heavily 2 years ago. I just haven't even watched a video from them.
Yeah.
But my number 1 is Joe Weller. Pretty self-explanatory. Alluding to what Kieran said about him, it's just hard to like describe. He just has one of those personalities.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's just one of those. It's just watch the video. I don't know. He's easily like the funniest person that I've seen on any like entertaining platform.
Wow,
we're talking like, nah, dude. Like, he just like that's my type of comedy.
Okay.
Like the internet mode's a fucking little boy doodle. Like it's just,
people don't know what that is.
Basically, like I laugh over stupid shit, and internet modes is like the peak of stupidity.
Yeah.
Like that's what I find funny.
If anyone's watching this, if there are anyone, you wanna have a laugh.
Little boy doodle.
Watch like 1 through like 8, and you're golden.
Oh man! All right, so and then also I have a ton of respect for what Joe Weller has done, like post internet melts, and like I feel like he's one of like the first YouTubers that like gave awareness to mental health, like about how he dealt with it and what he went through, and that's like a really tough thing for a YouTuber to do because you don't know the reaction you're gonna get. Believe it or not, he started the boxing in YouTube. He started that.
That's true, he did.
So I really like I have a ton of respect for what Joe Weller like how he took his career and like where he's at now. He's just basically doing podcasts, and like, I have a ton of respect for that.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's why he's numero uno.
Yeah, numero uno for me is a guy already mentioned in this. It is a Jesser. Yeah. Now, yeah, I haven't watched a Jesser video.
Wait, did you even play 2K? Just out of curiosity.
I did not.
Oh, it's okay.
I was just a fan, you know?
Just a fan, okay.
I've not watched a Jester video in probably 10 months.
The only video I watch is his wager against Cash. That's the only one I would go back to. But yeah, it's hard. Yeah, I don't watch his videos.
Yeah, but let's say 2 years ago, Jester, all his videos were just super fast paced.
Yeah.
And exciting, and he did a really good job editing.
He was a good editor. He's a good editor.
Enhance his humor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I never really found him funny. It was just entertaining.
I don't know. He just seemed so genuine.
No, yeah. No, it was just entertaining.
Yeah.
There's different, there's different categories for me.
Yeah.
He was no little boy Dino.
That is true.
I can be laughing. Dude, I'm gonna be laughing. Fuck, mate.
Yeah, but he just had a streak of a year or two there where he uploaded consistently, and they were all really good videos.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, yeah.
So I just want to throw some honorable mentions out there. So I've kind of an honorable mention for me would be the series. I know I might get hate for this, but the series on BuzzFeed called Worth It. You know what I'm talking about?
Wow.
You know the series, right?
Really.
I love that series.
Really.
I don't know about you, but I love that series.
So you're saying BuzzFeed is your favorite YouTuber?
No,
I'm kidding.
Yeah, you got the series inside of BuzzFeed. That was consideration. Basically, usually when I watch YouTube, I'm eating something. That's usually how it goes, right? So if I wake up and I have some lunch, I'll throw on some YouTube. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory, right?
Oh, okay. These two guys, and they're $11 salad versus
95. Yeah. So basically, for those that don't know, I've watched one every day for the past 2 weeks. I don't know. I've watched every one.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically.
Okay.
So basically, they go, they would do pizza. So they would go a really cheap option for pizza. Let's say it's $5, and then they would go kind of the middle price. So let's say $20, and then they would go the most expensive. And the reason I like it is because you get to see how it differs, and I'm really into food on YouTube, so I love Gordon Ramsay's videos. I don't know, I feel it's hella interesting.
All right. Just a quick note. I looked them up just when you said them, and they have a video: $3 $50 fish tacos versus $30 fish tacos. That's a dangerous video.
Well, no, it's because they're running out of ideas.
No, dude, that's $3 $50 fish tacos. That's dangerous.
$3.50.
Dude, you're just asking to get a disease at that point.
$3.50.
Yeah,
they went to
fish tacos.
They went to a food truck. I'm pretty sure it was actually really good. It looked really good.
I mean, sure.
And also, I just I feel it also raises awareness to the specific restaurant. So one guy that they went to was a street cook. Yeah, I just feel it's a really cool series, and it's something that when you're eating something it's so easy to watch. It's so easy to watch.
Sure.
And then another honorable mention I kind of want to throw out there is just kind of all the vloggers I watch, the Arlen Moores of the world, because that kind of took a turn about a year ago. Everyone kind of went to vlogging, so yeah, I feel that had to be mentioned. Do you want to mention anybody or no?
Not really.
All right, so we're gonna go into the miscellaneous topic. So this is kind of a dark topic. It always happens. We're talking about favorite albums, and then we just go to why are there guns?
Why are we doomed as a
why are we
race?
Here? Shit like that. So today we're gonna talk about basically the mass shootings in the U.S. and what we would do to try and fix them. So you can give your opening take or whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, this is kind of a tough topic.
It's a dark topic, yeah.
Obviously, terrible tragedy.
Yeah, I think that goes on.
I don't think we really need to say that.
Yeah, we don't need to go through that.
That's just understood.
Yeah.
However, I think when it comes to fixing the issue, I don't know if it's necessarily a single thing.
Okay.
More of an accumulation of a lot of different factors that maybe we promote as a society that are not necessarily positive.
Okay.
I mean, that's super vague, but I don't know.
So what would you, is there any one thing that you would do that you would think could be a positive change, just a decrease in shootings per year?
I I'm gonna need a minute.
Okay, I'll just give my take first.
Okay, yeah.
So, obviously, there's a problem with the U.S. Like, I think we're at like 252 shootings this year, and like the next closest is Mexico with 3.
Yeah, it's not even.
So it's like it's like a problem that's only the U.S. has.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was looking at this, and obviously, like it's kind of scary because it can really happen anywhere.
Yeah.
And especially like school shootings, like I don't think about it every day, but sometimes this kind of sound dark. I would be walking to class or whatever. I'm like, dog, do you know how easy? Like I would be talking to me like, dude, do you know how easy it would be to shoot up this school right now? Like it's really easy. So it's just kind of scary. It's kind of dark. I'm not gonna do it, but it's just kind of scary. And the way I would do it, like you can't take away guns. Anybody that says that, it's just unrealistic. It's like you could ban guns, but then you just go on the black market, and if the guy wants to do it, he'll go. You know what I'm saying? Like that's unfeasible. There's too many out there. So what I would do is I would just like cause more awareness to mental health. I feel like that's like the reason why people do it.
I mean, true, but I don't know if awareness will like stop that. With the guns thing, I agree. It might not prevent.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
Right. But I think you need to at least make an effort to like at least like ban like assault weapons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I agree with you there.
It's not like you can just walk or like background checks and stuff.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
can't just like walk in and get a gun.
I agree with you there.
So at least you make it difficult, and that might deter some people.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I just think like as a whole, it's just kind of like irrelevant. Like if a guy wants to shoot up a school, he'll get a gun.
Yeah.
Like you and I could get a gun if we really wanted to.
But I still think we should do that. But in your terms of like mental health, I think really.
I think that's why they do it.
I think we need to get like definitely some more research in like the motivations behind that.
Well, I mean, it's pretty common. Like school shootings, it's just like the guy there's not really a motive.
Yeah, it's tough. That's why you need to do like.
That's why I think it's all mental health.
You really need to research gun violence, so it's going to take a number of years before.
I think for me personally, like, I think it's 100% mental health related. I think there's something wrong with them mentally, whether it's their family background.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why I would just throw all the money in mental resources.
But like, I mean, you gotta like, I think get like the like CDC or something to like research it, get like a really like specific, I don't know, like report on it.
Well, no one knows the motives though, because usually what happens is someone shoots something up and then they kill themselves. That's true. So yeah, I agree with you. Like the testing and stuff is basically impossible. It's really. The guy, like the guy at the Madden tournament, like last year, goes, shoots 8 people, kills himself. Who the fuck knows the motive? I don't know.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But I mean, you got to consider like people have like mental health issues in other countries, but there's not nearly as many shootings. So I think the U.S. has a much higher mental health problem than other countries. I mean, maybe I don't know. I don't know. Like I feel like it's like the perfect storm for me, anyways. Like we've talked about social media on this podcast, like that effect, and then kind of I feel like 13 Reasons Why has an effect. It's like I feel like there's just kind of a lot of things that are the perfect storm for it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I do think the first thing you should do is make it more difficult, at least more difficult to get like access to that. Yeah. You know? Yeah. I mean, they gotta do something though. Like it's getting to a point where like I don't even feel anything when there's a school shooting. It's like same. Yeah, it's like it's happened so often. I'm saying, all right, yeah, it's like sounds about right. Yeah, it's like it rained. I'm like, yeah, all right, sure, man. I'm just really interested to see when it happens near us. Wow. I mean, I hope it's not me, but like. Dude, there hasn't been one in Mass. Like, dude, no, just think of the numbers, bro. There's been 252, not one's happened in Mass. Yeah. Like, numbers-wise, that's kind of unlikely. Maybe I mean, I would assume that if one happened in Mass, we would be hearing about it. Well, yeah.
Like, I know, I'm not saying, like, I want one to happen. That's fucked up. I'm just kind of waiting for it.
You're waiting?
Because, like, the numbers suggest that it will happen.
Hopefully none happen again.
Dude, there's gonna be more.
Yeah, obviously.
Like, obviously, that we're not promoting fucking shootings here. Let's not get wild. I'm just saying, you know, where we live is kind of weird that there hasn't been one close to us.
That is true.
So I feel like for us personally, it's like when one happens in El Paso, obviously it's terrible, and that shouldn't even be allowed. But we don't really feel that connection like it would if it happened in, like, at the Rockingham Mall. Shit like that.
True.
But yeah, I mean, there's no like real right answer. I mean, it's like a problem that stems like really deep, and it's not like, as Kieran says, it's not like, oh, you do this and it's solved.
Yeah.
I just wonder what the next step is if they're actually going to do something. They're not really doing anything. There's like, yeah, prayers go out to the people. That's it. You got to take action. So yeah, I mean, U.S. is kind of fucked up. But yeah, that's just kind of how it goes.
Yep.
So I don't really know what we'll talk about in the next podcast. I don't even know if anybody's listening to this right now.
Definitely not.
But if you are, you're
the
real OG, man.
Yeah, I don't know how you found your way here, but shout out you.
Dude, if anybody finds our way to this podcast, like, they got to be put on some list.
Yeah, I really don't know how, because, like, it's not like we promote this. It's just kind of exists in the depths of YouTube.
like the black market of YouTube.
Yeah, it's a black thumbnail, and it's just the Vibe Podcast. I don't know how you're here.
I don't know why you would click on that.
I don't know. Did you search up the Vibe Podcast? Why would you search that? What,
yeah,
psychopath.
I think one day we'll get a following then.
We'll see that day.
Like, we're at 10 right now. We have 2 viewers that could possibly be real people. You know, maybe when we get to episode 100, if we get to episode 100, do we have to throw a party?
Dude, if we get to episode 100 and we have 0 subscribers,
dude,
wrap it up.
That'd be really sad, dude. It's not even like getting the subs though. I don't know. I ain't here for the money, man.
Oh yeah, because you get 1 sub and then you're just rich.
No, dude, if we ever get 10 subs, I'm going to Miami and just vibe.
Dude, we gotta set up like a meet and greet.
Imagine. Oh my god. Yeah. Like, we get to 10 subs, like a meet and greet schedule. Oh my
Lester
god.
just pops out.
Oh my god.
Alright, yeah, I think that's enough.
Yeah, we're going off the rails pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll upload when we want to fucking upload, because no one gives a shit when we upload.
That's true.
Alright, yeah. I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Yep, farewell.